I hate to be saying this, and I really hope that I'm wrong, but we may now be on the precipice of the global recession that we anticipated would eventually come. We didn't know when, but one of the inherent elements of our system is the persistent booms and busts. There's always some downturn, some recession around the corner. We just don't know how many blocks we are from turning the corner, so to speak. Right now, the stock market is open as we are producing today's show. Just 9 minutes in, the stock market dropped by so much in the United States that it triggered some protective measures which shut down trading immediately in the United States. 10 minutes later, stocks reopened at 9:50 a.m. Eastern time, and the stocks have been up and down all day. Today could be the greatest single day decline in stock market history on a points basis, not on a percentage basis. It may reverse before the end of the day. We don't know. But as of right now, we could have the largest one-day point decline in the history of our stock market. In addition to this, the oil market has crashed. Oil prices fell as much as 34% and stabilized down about 21%. Again, as of right now, this information may change by the time you listen to today's show or watch this clip. Saudi Arabia and Russia are now in a growing price war. This is the most that oil prices have fallen in decades. Then they stabilized down about 21%, and those numbers will continue to change. Over the weekend, Russia refused to say how much oil they are producing. They were asked to make some commitments in order to stabilize the market. Russia refused to say how much oil they're producing. Saudi Arabia, in response, then drastically cut prices. This caused world markets to crash. The UK FTSE 100 index was down 7% as of a couple hours ago. American stock markets also down. And then, of course, on top of all of this, we have the growing virus situation, which we have been covering extensively and will cover later on today. And I know you all know about as well. So listen, we may be at the start of a massive global recession, which if indeed is starting now, it could be years before we get back to the price levels of the stock market of a month ago. Now, the stock market doesn't affect everybody, at least not directly. And to be clear, I hope it doesn't happen. Every time I tweet about the economy, I get tweets from followers who say, oh, David, you're just begging for an economic crash so that Donald Trump gets politically hurt, aren't you? No, I'm not. I've made that clear. I don't want people losing their jobs. I don't want stocks crashing. I don't want anyone to die from the virus. I'm not a terrible person, so I don't want horrible things to happen just so that people realize that Donald Trump is an incompetent buffoon. And to be frank, if you've not already realized Donald Trump is an incompetent buffoon, the stock market crashing or the virus spreading or whatever else is not going to convince those people. It would be a futile effort if that's what I'm counting on. It would be both morally wrong and misguided based on the facts. What I want to focus on is look at how quickly things can go into the trash in a period of 7 to 8 weeks. If there is any bigger picture message here, it's that of the inherent fragility of our system. This is partially about the inherent nature of the economic system we have. It is fragile. We've learned food supply lines are more fragile than we think. Markets are more fragile than we think. The medical system is fragile. It quickly becomes overwhelmed when something like the virus starts to spread. Ventilators are in short supply. Hospital beds are in short supply. Panicked people buy masks they don't even need, causing a shortage for healthcare workers who actually do need them. For as long as our economic system remains fundamentally what it is now, this fragility will always exist. And in fact, the booms and the busts are part of the system. We've been talking about this for years. As far as the micro, what's the stock market doing today? What is the response of our completely misguided and ignorant administration in terms of the virus? We will see how that shakes out today. We will see how it shakes out tomorrow. If indeed this is the start of a global recession, once again, it could be years before we get back to the point where we were just 2 months ago. But for as long as our economic system remains fundamentally what it is right now, these fragile awakenings, the awakening of the fragility of the system will keep cropping up because the system is fragile. That's the reality. That's not advocating for prepping. That's not advocating for communism. It's the reality of the version of the capitalist system that we have and of so many other things that we've been talking about as well.